All right, welcome back to Hoop Hierarchy. This is KC, and today I'm going to be doing the second video in probably a trio of videos that I'm going to do on March Madness, at least before the tournament starts. Um, this video is going to be based on ranking popular mid-tier seeds by their odds to make a run. These are just teams that I've seen people classify as teams that they think could go deep if things go right for them. Um, and so I've kind of classified it in three tiers. It's kind of a smaller tier list because I do think all the teams that I've picked here are good teams. So I've left out the teams that just are generally not great mid-tier teams because that would just be a little too monotonous. Um, but basically, how I'm classifying this is S is an actual potential contender for the title if things go right for them. Probably not going to be many teams in that tier here, but I think at least one team is going to be an S tier team. Um, A is a good team that could make a run, and I think there'll probably be a lot of teams in the A tier because these are, like I said, teams that people are favoring, and I think for good reason in a lot of the cases. And then B is a decent team, could make a run, but probably not likely. Just teams that maybe I'm a little lower on than a lot of other people are. Um, this ranking is basically a collection of teams that I've seen being ranked mid-tier, um, but there are obviously other teams that I'm leaving out. Um, if I'm leaving out a team, I probably am not super high on them as a mid-tier team. That's not the case entirely, but these are the ones that I feel like people are talking about the most. And so I can kind of give my thoughts on what some of the popular picks are for mid-tier teams to kind of make a little bit of a Cinderella run, so to speak. Um, but yeah, let's get right into it. So the first team I'm going to talk about is Arkansas. Um, it's a team that probably doesn't get the credit they deserve by most people. I think a lot of people are riding high on Memphis as an 8 seed because they just won their conference tournament. But I think Arkansas is the 8 seed with the best chance to knock off the 1 seed on their side of the bracket. Um, while I think Purdue isn't as good as Kansas, I think Arkansas, if things go right, have the talent to keep up with Kansas. I think Anthony Black and Nick Smith, they form a dynamic duo of freshmen that just might not be able to just might not able to be able to perform, or in Nick Smith's case, actually play at all at a consistent basis. But they do have a great defense, and with Smith healthy, a better offense. Their shooting woes might be an issue when it comes to playing consistently, but I think there is a chance that when they come up against Kansas, if they get hot, they can absolutely beat them. But if they can get on a roll, don't be shocked if Arkansas makes a little bit of a run. I'm going to say Arkansas is an A tier. The next team I'm going to talk about is Michigan State. I think Michigan State is they're a staple of March. They have Tom Izzo, who has just been there over and over and over again. They have a roster that can beat you in multiple ways. They got Tyson Walker, Joey Hauser, AJ Hogard. Um, they they defensively have not been perfect, but they have beat good teams this year, including Kentucky and Indiana. My issue with them is, like I said, their defense, and they're a bit inconsistent. And it is Izzo and it is March, so nothing can be ruled out. But my prediction is I think they make it past USC before running into a steamroller in Marquette. There is a situation where they give Marquette issues, but I'm not finding that to be likely just through the way they're put together. Like I said, I know it's Izzo and I know it's March, but I'm not seeing it with this Michigan State team. I'm going to be putting them B tier. Next up is Kentucky. Kentucky has grown a lot in as a team in general in recent weeks. They swept Tennessee on the season, but they've also beat Arkansas and they beat Texas A&M, and I believe those are good teams. They have one of the best bigs in the country, and he makes them go on the offensive end. The real concern with this Kentucky team is their health, as Wallace, Wheeler, and Frederick have all missed time this season. They have the talent to make a run, and I don't think Providence is all that good, to be honest with you. Um, but Kansas State is a beatable 3 seed as well. Um, I think Kentucky makes it to the Sweet 16 with a potential to go further. I'm going to be putting them in the A tier. They are borderline S tier, but they are going to go A tier for me. Next up is Duke. And Duke has been, from what I've seen, the most popular pick out of the mid-tier seeds to make a deep run, and it is easy to see why that is. They're clicking at the right time, and even as a young team, they have the vets like Jeremy Roach to lead them. Moving Tyrese Proctor to point guard has been a real key for them as a team. But the real key is the freshmen, Derek Lively, Dariq Whitehead, Kyle Filipowski. They've really matured throughout the season, and they're one of the more talented teams in the tournament. It's just about coming together. But at this point of the season, I feel like they're a force. They're a really strong defensive team, and they can match up well with a lot of teams. I'm going to put Duke S tier. I do think Duke can make a run to the Final Four if things go right. I think people putting them in their Final Four are not crazy. I think it could happen. Next up is Creighton. So Creighton is a deep and balanced team. It's another team that I think some people are sleeping on, but also some people have kind of woken up to. I don't think they'll get past the top two seeds in their bracket, but this team absolutely does have Final Four potential if they can. They have one of the keys that I really like when it comes to potential Final Four teams, and that's a balanced attack led by experienced players. One thing that I don't like, though, is the fact that they don't really have a go-to player. Ryan Kalkbrenner is probably their most impactful, but he just can't go get a shot for himself like the best offensive players in college basketball can. Regardless of that, I think Creighton is good, and I think they are an A-tier team. Next up is FAU. And FAU is a team that people are questioning a bit because of the fact that they don't really play anyone. But you can really only play who's on your schedule, and FAU dominated almost all year. Again, like Creighton, they're balanced, which I love to see in March. But another thing that I like in their favor is the fact that they can really shoot. They're 20th in the nation on percentage, so that should transfer if they are playing confidently. Um, they take a lot and they make a lot. Everyone wants to go Memphis in round one. I personally favor FAU. I don't. I see why people are favoring Memphis. I do. They're really rolling and they beat a good team in Houston. Um, but I think FAU is going to be tough to stop on the perimeter. I think the fact that they have a really tough run of games will halt them from making too deep of a run. I think they really got kind of a rough go when it comes to just seeding. But I think defensively they can get past, or not defensively, I think definitively they can get past Memphis and Purdue. And I think either team coming out of this matchup can give Purdue all that they can handle. FAU is going to go A tier for me. Now Memphis, people are really loving. Like I said, it makes sense. They beat Houston, but even without Saucer, I mean that's a hard thing to do. Their one-two punch of Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams is going to be hard for anyone to stop, including FAU in that first round. I think it may sound crazy to rank two teams that play each other high on this tier list, but I really think whoever wins this game can go on a run in this tournament. I think both teams were underseeded, and I think Purdue is very vulnerable. Memphis puts up a lot of points, and that first game is going to be fun to watch. For that reason, Memphis is going to go A tier for me. Finally, Texas A&M. It's one team that a lot of people love that I just can't seem to get myself behind. Yes, they are hardworking. Yes, they're really good defensively, and those are big. Those are a big deal in March, and they beat good teams. My issue with them is the fact that they just can't really score. They rely a lot on getting fouled to get their points, and if officials are letting teams play, which they often do in the postseason, I think outscoring teams is going to be trouble for them. And I think their defense is really keyed on shutting down the paint, where Penn State is a team that they play that is built to shoot threes. I think Penn State is not a good matchup for Texas A&M. They aren't very good at guarding around the perimeter, at least as good as they are guarding the paint. I think A&M matches up against Texas better than Penn State does, but I don't think they'll get past Penn. And either way, I'm going to be taking Texas over either team. I think it's a tough run for Texas A&M. I think they're a pretty good team, but I think I'm going to be putting Texas A&M B tier. All right, and that'll be it for this video. Like I said, it's kind of a shorter one compared to the other two videos I've done. If you stuck around until now, thank you. I really appreciate it. Um, I'm going to be doing a lot of tier lists like this. This has been mainly the focus of my channel so far. I have one more that I plan on doing for March Madness, and then I kind of am going to key a lot on the NBA. Um, yeah, that's kind of going to be what the focus of this channel is, just NBA and general content. But when college comes up, like I've said in past videos, I love March Madness and I love researching it. So I'm going to be putting out that content when it comes up. Um, but then in conclusion, I appreciate everyone for sticking around again for this video. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you like this content. There will be more to come. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed.